Everybody, it's Christine with Cocoa Daisy, and I'm going to share with you today some tips and ideas on how to use our stamp sets from October's Autumn Thicket collection. I have two stamp sets, well, actually kind of three, but I have the two main stamp sets from the Traveler's Notebook Memory Keeping Kit and the Modern Memory Keeping Kit. And I will show you some ideas on how to use each set individually. And then at the end, if you happen to get both stamp sets by either subscribing to both kits or by subscribing to the stamp subscription, I always like to give a few ideas on how you can combine both sets and go even and stretch them even further. So we have, I'm going to start with these, and I do not have, I apologize, we haven't gotten our stamps in yet. So I do not have, I only have my samples to show you, but you get the idea. They're well loved. I've been playing with them a lot already. So October, I'm going to start with the Traveler's Notebook Memory Keeping Kit. And if you look back at our past few sets, we're doing a theme where we have the month, the number for the month, and then these sets of, there's some images, and then the checkbox words, and then the other words, and then we have this box area. And we've done that, so let's see, through September, we've done that for 4 months now. And what I figured is you have enough boxes for right now to just kind of get an idea of how to use them, and you can go back and you can switch these boxes out with these images however you want. So for October, just to kind of shake things up, we did not include a box. However, we did continue, because we would like to try and do a whole year's worth and continue that theme. We did continue the bold words, the checkbox words, the number, and the month. So that way you can continue this on. All you need to do is go back and grab one of these boxes from one of your previous sets, and then you can layer these in there. So that is what we're doing. And we will, I'm sure, introduce another box or two here and there. But I wanted for October to be able to include a few extra decorative elements as well. So I'm going to show you how I used that without the box, and then I'll show you what I did with the box. So you can use this beautiful October script with the leaf and then a couple of the words. Here I layered it with the 10 and then this adorable mushroom. I layered it with the fern right here, or you could go in and layer it with the autumn and a leaf. You can do both of that. So like I said, you can keep it simple here, or you can layer a bunch of items there. You could even go in, and I could have added the fern under that one as well. So that's what I did with the October word. And then this circle stamp is really cute because there's a lot of ways that you could layer die cuts on top of this. You could layer a piece of chipboard on this. So, and I think cutting it out would be a lot of fun too, because that would make this into a die cut on its own. But what I did here is I stamped it, and then I added the leaf behind, and then the beauty fall, which fits in there just right. The dressed up fits in there. And then we also had, I didn't do one, but we also have the word cozy, which would fit in there also. And then this one, I layered it with the fern. This one, I layered it with the mushroom. Here, I layered it with two of the ferns. If you take that fern and you stamp it this way and then turn your stamp and stamp it this way, you get that pretty effect underneath. And then let's see, a couple ways of using the autumn is to layer it like I had shown with the word and a leaf, or just with the leaf. I think that's very pretty as well. Here it is with the mushroom and the beautiful underneath. And then here you can create almost a border and then add the 2 leaves there. And you could even take just this autumn and just stamp it down the edge of something and go the whole way down and create a really pretty border as well. And then the mushroom, I did the mushroom with, you can see where I did it with a couple of things, but I did it here with the leaf. I did that same idea with the leaf where you turn it and it creates that pretty little thing to layer underneath a word or around a word. That would have been pretty underneath the October, which I did here. And then I just added one of the little check boxes. I thought that was just kind of cute, the little foliage on there. Now you can take all of those elements and put them together and use them with one of these past blocks here. And so I took the one from July and I stamped that down a couple times. And then in this one, I added the 10, a leaf, the October, the dressed up, and then one of the little checkbox words. Here I did it with the autumn, and I layered the 10 over here underneath the October. Added the little cozy in there. And that's what I like about having the variety of these blocks is you can use them. You can choose whichever one is going to work best with what you want to add. If you want to add a bunch of journaling in one, if you don't, there's a lot of different ways you can use them, which is what I love. And then you have the 10 here. I did the foliage. I added those leaves, like I mentioned, where you turn it, and then the October over top, and then the beauty fall. So that is some examples on how to use the Traveler's Notebook memory keeping stamp set. Okay, let's move on to our next stamp set, which is part of the Modern Memory Keeping Kit. Before I do that, I did not show you a couple of ways that I used the stamp set on my layouts. So on this one, I just simply added the fern on my tag, just in green. Simple. I love that stamp set, or that fern stamp. And then I did the same thing on this one here, where I added it under my journaling as well. So I did it in the 2 spots. I used that fern stamp on there. So just before we move on, I want to make sure I showed you that. So again, this is from the Modern Memory Keeping Kit. And this stamp set has this great definition, which is the harvest definition. And then it has this 2-step, actually almost a 3-step stamp here that is like a tab. And I can show you, before I forget this time, how I used that on here. And I created the little tab and I cut it out and added it to my layout. I stamped the autumn favorites on there. I stamped the what I am grateful for and the cute little acorn on there. And then I did not use one on here. So that is how I did that. But yeah, so you can turn that easily into a fun little die cut if you wanted to. But I did want to create some ways that you could actually use that a little bit, thinking outside the box, and layer it with some of the other ones. So we'll start with the harvest definition, which I love the definition stamps because they are great for layering or just on their own. They're subtle, they're pretty. I love type. So you could do harvest with the acorns, with this pretty little leaf branch here. You could do it here. What I did, I stamped it in a lighter color, and then in this dark brown, I stamped just the one stamp of the tab to highlight the word harvest. So I thought that was kind of cute. And then again, you can always make a complete background with that if you repeat it, or a border. And I did that here. I just kind of created a little background. I stamped the autumn favorites over top and then that branch. So just to go back then and show you how to do this, the 2-step tab, so you could stamp it. You can do it in any of these 3 ways. So you can have just the solid image. You can have just the outline if you want, or you can do the solid plus the outline. I recommend doing if you're going to do both together, to do the solid first, and then it's a little easier to layer the outline over top of it, because even if you're off a little bit, it looks deliberate and it looks fine. So I like to do that. And then it comes with these 3 little words: just us, remember, and what is the other word on here? Blessed. So you get either of those 3 words will all fit in that little section. So it's kind of neat. You can choose one of those 3 little words if you want to. So then I used it down here. The what am I grateful for? The what I am is small enough that it will fit in there as well. So I showed how you could just layer the 2 of them together. If you wanted to take it a step further, you could layer the 2 of them together with the leaf branch. Now you can do the same thing with the autumn favorites, because the word autumn fits in there as well. So you can do the same idea. So I did autumn favorites with the solid tab with the leaf branch, and then I added the word blessed underneath. So here you can see it without the leaf branch. So you can do that either way. And then if we go back to the what am I grateful for, obviously you can layer, any of the images with that. So you have the leaf branch, that you have the cute little acorns, and then you do this. And then, like I said, here you can go one step further, and you can do the same thing with the autumn favorites. You can layer that with that branch. And again, that's using the same technique where you stamp it this way and then this way. Or you can do it with just one image of the leaf with the acorns or the little branch. So you can do that either way. And then the other thing you can do, and you can do this with the fern as well. I don't think I showed an example of the fern this way, but the fern or the single leaf, anything like that that kind of has that movement like that curves a little and has a stem, you can do this kind of an idea. And I've shown this before. Basically, all you're doing is you're stamping it, turning, and you just keep turning and stamping, and you get this beautiful effect. And then if you wanted to, you could take this stamp it on something, cut it out, and put it over top of that as a die cut. Wouldn't that be pretty? That would be really, really pretty. So that is an idea for how you could combine the 2 of them. So what I would do is I would take this and, like, minus the mushroom, I would just take the circle die cut with the Beautiful in there, cut that out, and then layer it over top. Would be really pretty. So that is some ideas on how to use the Modern Memory Keeping stamp set and how I used both of them together. Oh, and I should mention the colors that I used. So, of course, my VersaFine Black, which I didn't use a whole lot of, I stuck with, for my darker colors, I liked this Umber from the Stamp Market, and that is this color right here. It's a real nice, really dark, almost like a taupe kind of. So I used that. I used the Leafy from the Stamp Market. I used Rusty from the Stamp Market. I used the Catherine Pooler Icing on the Cake. That is the dark brown that you see here. The Memento Peanut Brittle, I loved that one. And then the So Saffron from Stampin' Up, which is one of my absolute favorite warm yellows. It's just every season it seems to work. I grab that one all the time. So, all right, so a few ways that you can combine these, nice and subtle, is the number 10 with the October label layered over the harvest. Just a simple mushroom next to the harvest. The mushroom next to what I am grateful for. Again, label or layering with the label stamp set. So we have October with the label, the little remember stamped in there, and then the pretty leaf next to it. I layered the October with the autumn favorites because this is a very similar font, so I thought that was kind of neat to do. The autumn favorites with the the leaf. And what I liked about the leaf is I did it in the rusty and then in that So Saffron. So it's subtle that you can see the other one, but I like the two of them together. And I did that here with the acorn as well, because that leaf works well. I believe they're both oak leaves. So you could layer the two of them with the Autumn Favorites. I thought that was really pretty. What I am grateful for with the fern, and I did it kind of in a brown. And then I did the fern this way with Autumn Favorites and Blessed. And then I took this idea here and took it another step further by adding that fern leaf behind it. And again, I love kind of the monochromatic look of those. I did the autumn with the little acorns. I did the autumn with the beautiful and then the leaf branch. And then I think one of my favorites, and this just, when you get a stamp set, just sit and play. Grab a bunch of colors that you like that work together. Take some scrap paper. I always have, pages that I print out that something didn't print right, or I'm trying to line something up. I save all of that paper, and that's just my test paper. And I will just start literally playing and layering. And that's how I come up with these ideas, is just by playing. And I think that's the best thing to do when you get a stamp set, is to sit down and just play. How does this look next to this? How does this look? And some work and some don't. And then save those sheets, because those are your idea sheets. And I reference back to these all the time. Then when I am going to do some stamping, I'll remember, I liked those colors. This is what I liked together. This was one of my favorites. And you get that simply by playing, by taking the time to just play. You're not doing it on anything permanent. You're not doing it on a layout. You're just going through the exercise, and it's a good way to practice stamping as well. But you learn a lot about what works well together and what colors work together for that month. So I encourage you, when you get your stamp sets, to just sit down and literally just play with them. There's no rhyme or reason to what you're doing. There's no need for you to, try and work on a specific project. You're just playing with your stamps and seeing what works well together. And this little grouping here ended up being one of my absolute favorites. It has the autumn and the rusty. And then I did the little mushroom in the icing on the cake in that dark brown. And then I used the leafy green next to it. And I absolutely love that. I will definitely be using that somewhere. So that was one of my favorites there. So that is all of the stamp sets from the October Autumn Thicket collection. Now, I did want to mention the stamp set that some of you received if you signed up for a new qualifying subscription and you entered the code, then you will be getting this stamp set. Now, this stamp set is a little preview of what we have coming up in our November collection, which is the Doodles and Dashes 2. It was a very, very popular collection we did last September. And so we've got a second version of it coming out in November. So a lot of the stuff that you loved about Doodles and Dashes, just geared a little bit more toward fall. I think you're going to love it. The colors are gorgeous. But anyway, so you received this free stamp set. I wanted to show you just a couple quick things that I did with it, but be watching next month when we have the other stamp sets, and I'll show you how to combine this if you received it with the two memory keeping stamp sets. You could totally combine this with some of the things you see here, but I didn't want to confuse people. So you'll be seeing more on how to use that next month. But I did want to show you a couple quick things. And if you go to my Instagram, the way that we designed this stamp set was that you could build a wreath with it. You obviously can build a number of beautiful, almost bouquets, images. You can layer them. But one of the things we wanted to do was make it so that you could build this beautiful wreath. And so I did that. I have a little video on my Instagram. You'll be able to see how I did it. And then I also wanted to show how beautiful these stamps are just in black and white. And so I did a simple stamp on here These pages are from the Minimalist collection, which we have in our Daisy store. And they're just black and white, and I just wanted to show how pretty that was just stamped on that page. The difference that it does, if you look at, this is a B6 size. So if you look at the page, sorry, if you look at the page just plain, and then you look at the page with it, it's so pretty. Just adding that little bit to it. So anyway, those are just a couple of quick ideas. Like I said, you can go to my Instagram page and you can check out how I did this. I made a little video, but I will be sharing more on how to use that stamp set next month. So I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you've gotten lots of ideas, and I hope you do play with your stamp sets when you get them. I think it's so important to just take that exercise and have fun with it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We love it when you do that. It helps boost our algorithm and get the word out about Cocoa Daisy. So until next month, have fun stamping.